This is part 2 of the update video that I was doing. And first of all, for those observing Yom Kippur tonight, Gemar Katima Tova, Veletazam Kol. By the way, I'm working on my, for lack of a better term, I'm working on my Hebrew. Obviously, I'm not a fluent speaker of Hebrew yet, but I'm working on speaking Hebrew. So, by the way, these two wish you a blessed Yom Kippur. Let's see, who do I have in there? Oh, okay, this is Nikeva, the woman of the wall bear, as usual. And this is the other one that I got, Azariyahu. I designed him with a, let's see, okay, there we go. There's his Messianic logo. You can see the Yeshua fish there. I got the inspiration for the design from a gefilte fish, and lo and behold. Anyway, and I've really loved these teddy bears since I've designed them. Well, the one I had to get permission to design, obviously. The other one, I could design him on my own, and I just really love bringing these two home on the weekends, because hey, I mean, they're special bears, and like I said, I had planned to take them to the hospital when I was in Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital and all that, and Johns Hopkins. So there you go. By the way, as far as the baclofen pump, I'm doing still pretty well with that. Of course, we had the thing where we thought it was inflammation, and now I have, for lack of a better term, I have a knot near one of the sites of my incisions. So of course, we're going to have to figure out whether or not. And I'm putting the teddy bears back on the chairs, so I apologize for that. And let me just put... for lack of a better term, when you use props for videos, sometimes you gotta lean over and... Anyway. So... And I'm trying to remember all the subjects that I wanted to blog about and update about and what have you. And so one of the subjects that I was going to talk about, in terms of Yom Kippur, one of the things is that when a person couldn't keep the Passover in the first month, he could keep it in the second month. So I imagine that there's precedence for keeping Yom Kippur in the 8th month on the 10th day, especially since Mom won't let me fast because I have classes on Tuesday. And then I got invited to a friend's house on Friday. And the biblical Yom Kippur is until the night anyway. So I assume that there's precedence for... Let's see, I'm trying to find it. But it talks about the second Passover. And it says... I have the things on my mind sometimes, but then it's like, I thought I could find it by just... Let's see. It says in Numbers 9. And then it also talks about it in the second book of Chronicles. This is when they were pretty much doing inappropriate things, and then the book of the law was found. I'm trying to recall because I'm not a big memorizer of chapters and verses. Okay, it says this is in the time of Hezekiah, and it says it begins with this is in the second Chronicles chapter 30. It says, now many people, a very great assembly, gathered at Jerusalem to keep the feast of unleavened bread in the second month. And then it goes on and explains about that. And this has to be, I think, when... Let me double check that. This has to be when... Okay. This is when Hezekiah cleansed the temple. And... Okay, so this isn't when Josiah found the book of the law. Let's see. Okay, so... Hezekiah... And again, I'm not well memorized or well versed in everything. Okay, there for the Lord. Okay. And so I'm trying to remember, and I've never really been able to, I guess, comprehend or put family trees together for for lack of a better term, ancient Israel. So, I mean, I can't even trace my own family tree in terms of my own Jewish relatives and ancestors back beyond the 1600s, and that's because many of them became Anusim, and as far as the Chernetsky side and what have you, and I can't even go beyond 1700 with that. So anyway, so it talks about Hezekiah cleansing the temple and then celebrating the second Passover, and it says in the book of Numbers, by the way, I know that I'm boring some people right now, so you gotta forgive me for that, and it says, and this is why I was using the word journey when I was searching for it, because I thought it said, let's see, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, or is far away on the journey. Okay, so I did remember to text that verse, but it says, it was talking about two men who were quote-unquote defiled by a human corpse because they, for whatever reason, had to touch the corpse. And it begins, well, in terms of the passages that we're referring to, it begins with Numbers 9, verse 8. And Moses said to them, "Stand still, that I may hear what the Lord will command concerning you." Then the Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying, if any one of you or your posterity is unclean because of corpse, or is far away on a journey, he may still keep the Lord's Passover. On the 14th day of the second month at twilight they may keep it." And then it goes on and on and on. And then it says in verse 13, "But a man who is clean and is not on a journey and ceases to keep the Passover, that same person shall be cut off from among his people, because he did not bring the offering of the Lord at its appointed time. That man shall bear his sin." So given Numbers 9, verses 8 to 13, I'm assuming there's precedence for keeping Yom Kippur on the 10th day of the 8th month. And in terms of what we call Rosh-HaShanah being acceptable as the fiscal year, because of course the real Rosh-HaShanah is in the spring, but if you want to compromise and say that Rosh-HaShanah can be in the fall, but instead call it, for lack of a better term, the fiscal Rosh-HaShanah, or Rosh-HaShanah le Kesafim, literally meaning the year for money, you could arguably use, I believe it's Deuteronomy. Well, let me just Google the word Jubilee, because that usually helps me find it. And okay, it's Leviticus 25, and it says, and we'll start with verse 8, and we'll go to verse 12. So Leviticus 25, 7 to 12. Like I said, I'm not very good at always memorizing books and what have you, but it says, so this is Leviticus 25, verse 8. "And you shall count seven Sabbaths of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years, and the time of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be to you 49 years. Verse 9, and this is the key verse, which I think could arguably make what we call Rosh Hashanah in modern terms to be the fiscal Rosh Hashanah, or Rosh Hashanah le Kesafim. "Then you shall cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the Day of Atonement you shall make the trumpet to sound throughout all your land." And then of course the verse 10, "And it shall be, and you shall consecrate the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, and each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you shall return to his family. So obviously loans are being forgiven, everyone's returning their own property, etc., etc. The shofar is being blown on Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is in the 7th month on the 10th day. And then what we call Rosh-HaShanah, which is really Yom Teruah, falls in the 7th month on the 1st day. And so if you have the shofar being blown on the 10th day of the 7th month, then it's to declare the Yovel and what have you. You could obviously make the case for what we call Rosh Hashanah being Rosh Hashanah leKesavim, or Fim, I should enunciate or pronounce better. Anyway, there you go, and I hope I didn't bore you too much. And by the way, see the first part of the update in the description box. And by the way, you can tell I've not taken my ADD meds, so I'm going to take those after I record this video. And by the way, this is my medication box. I would recommend getting one of these, and my mom ended up getting one of these for me, because heck, you don't even really have to open them. You could just, where is it? Right here, you could just press like this, opens, and then close. And I could show you my former medication box, by the way, if I could find it. Whoa, okay. Oh, you can see my Israeli flag pin, by the way. Oops, there we go. Right here. And it's been a really good pin. And let me, sorry about this. This isn't, I don't have a camera that goes to different angles and what have you. And let me reach over here, see if I can find it. This is called real life, folks. Real life happens. And somewhere, or maybe we just recycled it. Anyway, I think I've bored you enough. Ooh, check this out. And we keep stuff all over the place. This is the dreidel that I got one year. I don't exactly remember where I got it from. But Hanukkah, incidentally, is coming on Thanksgiving, so an early happy Hanukkah. And obviously, we're going to have to pick up that medicine bottle later. But there you go. And also, just forgive my weird quirks. And heck, if I find the old medicine box, I'll just take a picture of it and post it up on my page. And well, there you go, and what have you. And like I said, forgive my weird quirks. And also, well, sorry for boring you for about 13 minutes.